Today's lesson is Unit 1 in Pre-Algebra, Lesson 10. We're going to convert between fractions, decimals, and percent. The homework that goes with this is page 22 and 23 in the homework packet. All right. This is on page 19 in your note packet. We are going to talk about converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. All of these notes are here if you want to take the time to read over them. We're going to do some examples. This first problem, if I gave you 3/8 and I wanted you to change that to a decimal, either you know that it's 37.5% because it's a common fraction, or you can divide it. 3 divided by 8. The numerator, the one that's on top, always goes in the box. 8 goes into, you put your decimal point and add a bunch of zeros. 8 goes into 30 3 times. That's 24. I subtract, I get 6. I bring down a 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times. That's 56. Subtract, I get 4. Bring down a 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. That is 40. There's a terminating decimal. There's your decimal. Now, to change from a decimal to a percent, the way that I remember, you all should know that 25% is 0.25. So, from a decimal, 0.25 to a percent, I move it 2 to the right. If I gave you a percent, and I asked you to move it to a decimal, you would move it 2 to the left. So, if I move this 2 to the right, 1, 2, it's 37.5%. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. 0.25. This is 25 hundredths. That's how you say that, 25 hundredths. So, you write it as a fraction exactly as you say it. 25 hundredths, which reduces to 1/4. Change that to a percent. I move it 2 to the right, 25%. 1/10. This might be one where you don't really need to divide because 1/10 is 1/10. But if you don't know that, 1 divided by 10, put a decimal, add a 0. 10 goes into 10 one time, it's 1/10. Move it 2 places to the right, so 10%. This is 90%, move it 2 places to the left, that'll be 0.9. And to change directly from a percent to a fraction, every percent in the world is out of 100. So it'll be 90 over 100, which is 9/10. Percents always compare numbers to 100. That's a key point. All right, so 1.2 as a percent. Well, to go from a decimal to a percent, I move it 2 to the right. So 120%. I would move it 1, 2 to the right. Write this as a percent. Well, this is 7,000. 7,000 is that. Tenths, hundreds, thousands. 7,000. Change that to a percent. Again, I need to move it 2 places to the right. It's 7/10 of a percent. All right, putting these in order from least to greatest. We've got all kinds of numbers, fractions, decimals, and percents, all mixed up. I would change them to decimals. You could change them to fractions, but you need to have a common denominator. So 34% would be 0.34. 0.38, 38 hundredths is already a decimal. 1/4, we all know that that's 0.25, and if you don't, you divide. And 2 is decimal. So, least to greatest. So the smallest in that list will be 1/4. Then, 34%. Then, 38 hundredths. And then